He broke hearts, then broke the internet. From Seoul to Bangkok, these 10 insanely handsome Asian men didn't just captivate fans, they triggered wild rumors about secret romances with other men. No one confirmed it, but no one forgot it either. Are the whispers true, or just fantasies gone viral? Watch now and decide for yourself. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more untold stories. Tul Pakorn Thanasrivanitchai never set out to be a heartthrob. Born in 1989 in Bangkok, he was the kind of student who followed the rules, made the grades, and mapped out a solid future, brick by brick. He earned a degree in architecture from Chulalongkorn University, then went on to complete a master's in international real estate in the UK. Everything about his early path said structure, not spotlight. But then came the unexpected twist. A casting opportunity and a quiet yes that would change everything. In 2017, Tul made his breakthrough in the Thai BL series Together With Me, playing Dr. Korn, a character as emotionally complex as he was captivating. Tul's natural charm, quiet depth, and sharp looks turned heads instantly. But it wasn't just him, it was him and Max Natapal, and that changed everything. From the very first scene, their chemistry was undeniable. It was tender, explosive, intimate, and totally addictive. Audiences didn't just enjoy the show, they believed it. Fans around the world latched onto the pair like a lifeline, giving them the couple name Tulmax, and diving headfirst into every movement, every glance, every social media post. The obsession wasn't random, it was rooted in something that felt real. Behind-the-scenes clips, red carpet photos, interviews filled with knowing smiles, Tul and Max weren't just acting close, they looked close. Too close. Matching outfits? Check. Shared vacations? Check. Eye contact that could melt a screen? Double check. The line between real and real began to blur, and suddenly rumors weren't just whispers, they were a roar. And yet, Tul never confirmed, never denied. He simply carried on, calm, graceful, and unbothered. In the end, Tul's story was never about giving the internet what it wanted. It was about giving queer love the quiet power it deserved. Whether the rumors were true or not, he gave fans something rare, representation with dignity, with depth, and without apology. And maybe, just maybe, the silence said more than any headline ever could. But Tul wasn't the only Thai actor turning on-screen love into off-screen speculation, because just 1 year later, another name would send the BL world spinning. A name that fans still whisper with wide eyes and racing hearts, Mew Suppasit Jongcheveevat. Born in 1991 in Thailand, Mew was never supposed to be a heartthrob. With a master's degree in industrial engineering and a quiet, thoughtful demeanor, he seemed more destined for labs and lecture halls than fan meetings and red carpets. But when he took on the role of Tharn in Tharn Type the series, everything changed. On screen, he was confident, tender, and emotionally raw. The kind of romantic lead that doesn't just exist in fiction, but lingers in the heart long after the credits roll. Audiences didn't just see his performance, they felt it. And the reason? His chemistry with Golf Kenawut wasn't just good, it was unreal. And that's where the fantasy spilled into real life. Fans didn't just love Tharn and Type, they believed in Mew and Golf. The way they looked at each other during interviews, the teasing, the inside jokes, the subtle hand-holding when they thought no one was watching. Their bond felt too natural, too emotionally charged to be just acting. The fandom created a new language around them, calling them Mew Golf and shipping them hard. Every social media post, every award show appearance, every live stream together became a new chapter in what many believed was a real-life romance. And to be fair, Mew never shut it down. If anything, he leaned into it, with knowing smiles, sweet words, and a level of affection that kept the dream alive. But was it real, or was it just the perfect illusion? To this day, Mew Suppasit has never confirmed a relationship with Golf, or with anyone. He remains polite, poised, and deeply respectful of his fans, especially those in the LGBTQ+ community who saw themselves in his character. He talks about love like a poet, sings about it like he's lived it, but never once names the person behind the emotion. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Mew never promised answers. What he offered was something more powerful. Possibility, a kind of love that doesn't need to be defined to be felt. Whether Mew Golf was real or simply the most beautiful performance in recent BL history, Mew Suppasit gave people something rare. He gave them hope. And he wasn't alone. Because in Vietnam, not far from the buzzing fandoms of Bangkok, another name was stirring headlines. But unlike Tul, he didn't stay silent. He didn't leave it to speculation. He spoke his truth, openly, boldly, and beautifully. His name? KIEU. He came to Vietnam to teach English, but ended up teaching the country how to swoon. KIEU, better known by his stage name Joo Hyuk, was born in 1985 in the United States. With sharp features, a smooth baritone voice, and that unmistakable mix of Western charm and Vietnamese fluency, he didn't just break into the Vietnamese entertainment industry, he carved out a lane of his own. Originally arriving as a volunteer, KIEU quickly found himself drawn to the stage. Before long, he was singing on national television, acting in dramas, and appearing on talk shows like a local celebrity. His clean-cut image, romantic aura, and love for Vietnamese culture made him a fan favorite. But there was one thing that fans and tabloids couldn't help but notice. For someone so handsome, so magnetic, and so often in the public eye, he was always mysteriously single. And that mystery became the source of endless speculation. KIEU never publicly dated a woman, never posted about love interests, and never gave the media what they wanted when it came to romance. He kept things professional, maybe a little too professional, and let the rumors swirl. Then came the photos, cozy behind-the-scenes moments with male co-stars, long lingering glances, a few too many bromantic compliments in interviews. Fans began to question, was there something more going on? Had KIEU been hiding a quiet love story behind that charming smile? Vietnamese netizens, notorious for their detective-level sleuthing, took to forums and social media to analyze every gesture, every caption, every hint. Some called him private, others called him closeted. And like so many stars caught between cultural expectations and personal truth, KIEU chose silence. He neither confirmed nor denied. He simply kept singing, kept smiling, and kept them guessing. But maybe silence was his way of taking the high road. In a country where LGBTQ+ visibility is still a complicated landscape, Joo Hyuk became a curious figure. Not quite out, but not entirely hiding. His connection with the community, both through his art and his fan interactions, remained warm and respectful. He didn't exploit queer audiences, but he didn't distance himself from them either. He walked that fine line, and he walked it with grace. To this day, no one knows for sure what stories lie behind his love songs. But maybe that's part of the charm. Not every love needs a label. Not every truth needs a microphone. And while KIEU's story is still draped in gentle ambiguity, there's another star, this time from Taiwan, who took the art of being mysterious to a whole new level. With a sculpted physique, a smoldering gaze, and a personal life that remains one of Asia's best-kept secrets, Peng. Born in 1982 in Taipei and raised between Taiwan and Canada, Eddie didn't stumble into fame, he sprinted straight toward it. With a body carved like a Greek statue, a face that belongs on every billboard in Asia, and the athleticism to match any action star in Hollywood, Eddie was every casting director's dream. But he wasn't just muscles and movie posters. From Jump Ashen to Unbeatable, he earned critical acclaim for his raw intensity, emotional depth, and work ethic that bordered on obsession. His rise was clean, calculated, and ridiculously impressive. But as his fame grew, so did the curiosity. While other stars paraded their relationships for the press, Eddie? Always alone, always private, always just out of reach. And that's when the rumors started. He was too perfect, too polished, too private. People started whispering that Eddie was hiding something or someone. Every time a reporter asked about his love life, he dodged like a pro athlete. "I focus on work," he'd say, or "I'm married to my career." Which, let's be honest, is publicist speak for not telling you anything. It didn't help that he never seemed to be seen dating anyone, male or female, and when asked directly about sexuality, he danced around the topic with elegant vagueness. Soon, tabloids began speculating about close friendships, overseas companions, and even a few industry insiders whose names were whispered in private circles. The internet? It did what it always does. It investigated, exaggerated, and edited clips of Eddie smiling at male co-stars like they were Shakespearean sonnets. But still, no confirmation, no denial, just that same practiced, graceful silence. But in that silence, something powerful happened. Fans, especially queer fans, didn't just see Eddie as a movie star. They saw him as a symbol, someone who didn't need to label himself to command respect. Someone whose strength wasn't just in his body, but in his boundaries. While the rumors never stopped, neither did his career. He went from romantic leads to historical epics, from comedic charmers to martial arts heroes, and all without ever revealing the personal life behind the camera. To some, that made him frustrating. To others, it made him iconic. Because Eddie Peng didn't need to speak about identity to become a part of the conversation. He became proof that sometimes just existing, confidently, respectfully, and unapologetically, is its own quiet rebellion. Wang Yibo didn't just rise, he exploded. Born in 1997 in Henan, China, Yibo was a triple threat from the start. Singer, dancer, and actor, with the kind of icy good looks and effortless cool that made fans across Asia fall hard fast. He debuted with the boy group KIEU in 2014, but it wasn't until 2019 that everything changed. The Untamed hit screens and hit hearts. As Lan Wangji, the stoic, impossibly elegant cultivator, Yibo delivered a performance so restrained and yet so emotionally charged, it left viewers breathless. But the real magic? It came from who he shared the screen with. Xiao Zhan, as the mischievous and magnetic Wei Wuxian. Together, they created chemistry that transcended the script, the genre, and even the screen itself. And from that chemistry came the chaos. Fandoms didn't just ship them, they canonized them. The name Boxwan, or Yizan, flooded Weibo, Tumblr, YouTube edits, and every corner of the internet that dared care about beautiful men and slow-burn glances. Clips from fan meetings were dissected frame by frame. People compared body language, synced breathing, matching jewelry, anything that could prove what so many fans believed deep in their hearts. This wasn't just acting, it was real. When Wang Yibo looked at Xiao Zhan, it wasn't as Lan Wangji, it was him. And the world went into overdrive. Theories flew, hashtags trended, and for a moment, it seemed like all of China was holding its breath, waiting for one of them, just one, to confirm it all. But neither did. They played coy, smiled through interviews, and carefully dodged every romantic implication. Still, fans weren't letting go. Wang Yibo didn't confirm, and he didn't have to. His silence became part of the mystique. In a society where LGBTQ+ topics remain deeply sensitive, Yibo walked a tightrope, acknowledging the fandom's passion without feeding it. He never mocked, never distanced himself from the queer audience that helped make The Untamed a cultural milestone. Instead, he remained poised, polished, and private. Extremely private. He rarely discusses his love life, avoids scandal, and keeps the world at arm's length, which only fuels the rumors more. To this day, fans debate whether the chemistry was real or just masterful acting. But the impact? Undeniable. Wang Yibo became a symbol of modern masculinity, of ambiguity, of something beautiful that didn't need a label to be loved. And yet, if Wang Yibo was the quiet storm, his co-star was the emotional hurricane. The other half of that epic love story, both on screen and possibly off, is a man whose eyes held secrets, smiles, and the kind of softness that fans could never forget. His name? Xiao Zhan. Born in 1991 in Chongqing, China, Xiao Zhan never imagined himself in the eye of a media storm. He studied design, sang in a college band, smiled like someone who belonged behind the camera, not in front of it. But then came The Untamed. As Wei Wuxian, Xiao Zhan wasn't just performing, he was embodying chaos and charm, heartbreak and humor. Audiences didn't just connect with his character. They fell for the man behind the role, his warmth, his vulnerability, and more than anything, his dynamic with co-star Wang Yibo. Their chemistry didn't ask for attention, it demanded it, quietly, powerfully, undeniably. And that chemistry turned into something much bigger than a show. It became a movement, a global fandom, a fantasy so strong it blurred the line between script and reality. Fans gave them a name, Zhan, and poured their hopes, dreams, and love into it. They wrote novels, made animations, spliced every shared glance into hours of content. And Xiao Zhan? He never tried to stop them. He smiled through the interviews, thanked the fans, left just enough mystery to let the fantasy breathe. He was the soft counterpoint to Yibo's cool exterior, and people believed in that balance. Believed it so much, they didn't care if it was fiction. They needed it to be true. But what started as devotion slowly twisted into something more dangerous. Something Xiao Zhan never saw coming. Because one day, the internet turned. A piece of explicit fan fiction set off a chain reaction that nearly collapsed his career. Overnight, love turned into hate. Fans turned into critics. Brands backed away. And Xiao Zhan disappeared, not out of guilt, but out of survival. In his silence, people projected guilt, shame, even betrayal. But when he returned, something had changed. He didn't need to explain himself. He didn't feed the rumors, nor did he fight them. He simply endured, with grace. And that, in itself, became a powerful form of resistance. Xiao Zhan became more than an actor or an idol. He became a mirror for people's desires, fears, and fantasies, and he bore that weight with quiet strength. But while Xiao Zhan faced the storm head-on, another rising star, far to the west in South Korea, was navigating his own quiet cloud of speculation. Handsome, gentle, and famously private, he captured hearts with every role and raised eyebrows with every off-screen interaction. His name? Joo Hyuk. Born in 1994 in Busan, South Korea, Nam started his career in the world of fashion. Tall, lean, and strikingly gentle, he moved like poetry even before he opened his mouth. But it wasn't long before producers saw what photographers already knew. He had the makings of a star. From runway to screen, Nam made the leap into acting with effortless grace, landing leading roles in hits like Weightlifting Fairy, Kim Bok-ju, and Startup. On screen, he was the boy you could fall in love with, kind, quiet, the one who listens more than he speaks. Off screen, the same. Soft-spoken, humble, reserved. And maybe that's why the questions started. Because in an industry that loves clarity, Joo Hyuk gave none. He never flaunted relationships, never got caught up in dating scandals, and never played into the public's thirst for a headline. There were whispers, of course, rumors of behind-the-scenes romances, hints in interviews, or that one photo with a male friend that fans swore was too close. Netizens dissected body language, turned soft gestures into statements, and speculated endlessly. Why was he so private? Why so soft? Why did he always seem more comfortable with his male co-stars than his female ones? There was no drama, no outbursts, no forced masculinity. Just Nam, quiet, graceful, and to some, suspiciously gentle. The fandom didn't shout, it wondered. But Nam never answered those questions, and maybe he never needed to. He let his work speak. Every character he played had depth, tenderness, and a certain aching sincerity that blurred the line between performance and personality. He didn't deny the rumors, he didn't confirm them either. He simply kept walking, slow, steady, and unbothered. And in doing so, he became more than just another pretty face in K-drama. He became a canvas. Fans projected stories onto him, of queer love, quiet longing, and unspoken truth. Not because he asked for it, but because he made them feel safe imagining it. In a culture that demands answers, Joo Hyuk offered silence. And in that silence, he gave people permission to dream. And speaking of dreams, the next name on the list is no stranger to romantic rumors, red carpets, and whisper networks. With eyes like a poem and a voice that disarms, he's captivated Korea and sparked just as many questions. Enter Jong Suk. Born in 1989, tall, porcelain-skinned, with a gaze that felt more like a love letter than a look, Jong Suk wasn't just a model-turned-actor. He was the blueprint. From his early days strutting down the runway to starring roles in K-dramas like I Can Hear Your Voice, W, and While You Were Sleeping, he built a career out of playing the boy who feels too good to be real. And maybe that's the problem. He was too perfect, too composed, too quiet. In interviews, He answered softly. In public, he kept to himself. And in love? Well, no one really knew. And when people don't know, they guess. Over the years, fans began noticing a pattern. Jong Suk rarely spoke about dating. While his name was occasionally linked to female co-stars, there was never any real fire behind the smoke. But with male celebrities, things felt different. Especially with one in particular, Kim Woo-bin. The two were inseparable for years, attending events together, vacationing together, even referring to each other as soulmates in interviews. To some, it was nothing more than a close brotherhood, but to others, it felt intimate. Too intimate. The kind of bond built not just on friendship, but maybe, just maybe, something more. Photos of them hugging, whispering, laughing like no one else existed. Fans didn't need much. The speculation took on a life of its own. And Jong Suk? As always, he said nothing. But his silence only added to the allure. Unlike others who denied rumors, pushed back, or played the press, Jong Suk stayed elegant and elusive. He never mocked the whispers, he never chased attention, but he never ran from it either. Over time, his quiet became part of his brand. The beautiful enigma. The man who made millions swoon on screen but left the world guessing about what was real off camera. To some, it was strategic. To others, it was protective. But either way, it worked. Jong Suk remains one of the most beloved and most wondered about leading men in Korea. His story isn't one of scandal, it's one of subtlety, of soft smiles, of private truths wrapped in public grace. And now we shift from the polished world of Korean drama to something a little more vibrant, a little louder, a little freer. Our next name comes from Vietnam, and while his story may be less mysterious, it's no less captivating. Tran Thanh didn't just become famous, he became a phenomenon. In Vietnam's entertainment industry, his name is practically its own brand. Actor, comedian, host, director, influencer, whatever the title, Tran Thanh wore it effortlessly. Born in 1987, he had the kind of quick wit and emotional intelligence that made audiences laugh one moment and tear up the next. Whether it was a comedy sketch, a reality show, or a dramatic film, he had presence, power, and the ability to speak directly to the hearts of millions. But for all the roles he played on screen, it was a single off-screen rumor that made people pause and whisper. His name was linked to Dao Balak. In 2017, Dao Balak, singer, beauty guru, and LGBTQ+ icon in Vietnam, gave an interview that shook showbiz. He spoke openly about a past relationship with a famous MC who was now married. He never said a name. But the clues, they were like breadcrumbs dropped in plain sight. Fans and media alike connected the dots, and all signs pointed to one man, Tran Thanh. The age, the timing, the details, it all fit a little too perfectly. Suddenly, old photos resurfaced, reactions were analyzed, and a question that had quietly followed Tran Thanh for years came roaring back. Was there more to the story? He never confirmed it. But he never quite denied it either. Tran Thanh, as always, responded with charm. A few jokes, a soft laugh, then silence. He didn't lash out, he didn't feed the flames. Instead, he let the moment pass, like he always had. And maybe that's what made it more compelling. Because beyond the headlines and speculation, what people saw in Tran Thanh was someone who defied easy definition, sensitive, stylish, deeply affectionate with his male friends, fearlessly emotional. He cried on stage. He quoted love poetry on talk shows. And when he married Hari Wan, it didn't quiet the whispers. It simply added more texture to a life already full of contrast. In a world hungry for black and white answers, Tran Thanh remains a moving shade of gray, one that glows, shifts, and slips just out of reach. Some say it's just fan fiction. Others believe it's the truth hiding in plain sight. But one thing's for sure, these men have left a mark far deeper than they appear. Whether the rumors are true or not, they've sparked conversations the world needs to have. So tell us, which name surprised you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the LGBTQ+ Vibes channel, and ring the bell for more stories that go beyond the spotlight.